This is Standing Watch. And now, Evangelist Norbert Link.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to our Standing Watch program. We have told you for many years that America's downfall is inevitable. The sad part is, it's self-inflicted to a large extent. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's prophesied in the Bible, but it's almost like self-fulfilling. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about international affairs and domestic affairs, in which America, of course, is involved. And let's start with an article by The Telegraph, dated January 26, saying this: "The United States is planning to station nuclear weapons in the UK for the first time in 15 years, with nuclear warheads 3 times the strength of the Hiroshima bomb." The bomb which was, of course, dropped in Japan at the end of World War II. The US currently has warheads stationed in Belgium, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Turkey. It is as if America is creating a Frankenstein monster for itself. Why? Why am I saying this? Because these weapons, these nuclear weapons, will be used by Europe under German leadership against the United States, and actually against the UK. We have recorded this in our booklet, The Fall and Rise of Britain and America. It's absolutely free for the asking. But also due to America's failing policies, Europe will have a powerful army with nuclear weapons very soon to be able to attack America and the UK. Express wrote on January 28. Calls by top bureaucrat Manfred Weber for the European Union to be equipped with its own nuclear deterrent are shocking and worrying, the former UK Deputy Leader Ben Habib has said. He claimed that any such development would in itself represent a threat to world peace. Not only does it want its own European army, it now wants nuclear weapons directly under its control. And Europe will obtain both. Of course, some European countries are already nuclear powers, but they are not totally united yet. Our free booklet, The Rise and Fall of Germany and Europe, is going to go into this subject in much more detail as well. But I'd like to go back to Turkey. We've heard that nuclear weapons, American nuclear weapons, are deposited in Turkey. Here's an article by Newsmax, dated January 27. The Biden administration has approved the $23 billion sale of F-16 fighter jets to Turkey, following the Turkish government's ratification this week of Sweden's membership in NATO. NATO ally Turkey has long sought to upgrade its F-16 fleet and had made its ratification of Sweden's membership contingent upon the approval of the sale of the new planes. The Biden administration has supported the sale, but several lawmakers have expressed objections due to human rights concerns. But let me just say, the sale of F-16 fighter jets to Turkey, which is being run by a ruthless dictator, is a totally boneheaded decision. Why is that so? Because ultimately, Turkey will help Europe in its fight against the State of Israel and the United States of America. We have prepared another booklet, Middle Eastern and African Nations in Bible Prophecy, which goes into that issue at great length. But let me ask you this: why would Europe ever want to attack the United States? Most don't believe that. Most think it's going to be, if anything, an attack from Russia or China. But the Bible tells you it's going to be Europe under German leadership. Why is that so? Why would they? Actually, there are many, many reasons for that. I just want to give you one example right now from an article published by US Sun, dated January 29. Photos and footage obtained by watchdog White Coast Waste show scientists at the Rocky Mountain Lab sedating monkeys and pigs and carrying out experiments with deadly viruses and highly contagious and deadly diseases. And some of the deadly diseases have the potential to spark a new pandemic. Experiments include injecting pigs with Ebola and injecting monkeys with COVID. Now, the Rocky Mountain Lab apparently worked together with the Wuhan Institute in China, which many feel was responsible for the outbreak of COVID. And think how many accused China and how many became quite angry at China. Think about the possibility a pandemic breaks out due to activities in the United States. I also like to talk about America's military failure all over the world. Here's an article by the Ron Paul Institute, dated January 26. The breaking news that Houthi fighters have fired on the USS Carney in the Red Sea today, of course it was Friday, January 26, underscores the shocking failure of the Biden administration, which initiated airstrikes on the Houthis this month with no plan for victory beyond hoping that the mere presence of US warships would motivate them into surrendering. There was simply no possibility of success and 100% probability of failure. And then the article goes on to say, US members and senators are starting to wake up to the fact that Joe Biden is taking the country to war without any authorization. Attacks against Biden's forces in Iraq, Syria, the Red Sea, the Mediterranean will escalate, and he is backed into a corner. What is next? Now this almost is prophetic, because notice what happened 2 days later on January 28, as reported by Reuters. 3 US service members were killed and dozens wounded after an unmanned aerial drone attack on US forces stationed in northeastern Jordan near the Syrian border. Biden blamed Iran-backed groups for the attack, the first deadly strike against US forces since the Israel-Hamas war erupted in October and sent shockwaves throughout the Middle East. The attack is a major escalation of the already tense situation in the Middle East. And so Biden announced now that there will be some retaliation against Iran's proxies without specifying and apparently without wanting to strike Iran itself. Of course, Iran already threatened that they would respond in kind if there's any attack on anybody associated with Iran, and they said it will be even worse. Apart from the international nightmare the United States is facing, let's talk about one issue on the domestic front. And it has to do, of course, with the situation at the border with Texas and Mexico. Ron Paul wrote this on January 29. Texas Governor Greg Abbott issued a statement declaring that an invasion under Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3 of the U.S. Constitution is underway and invoking Texas constitutional authority to defend and protect itself. Governor Abbott answers an important question I brought up back in my 1988 U.S. presidential run. At what point do open borders and mass illegal immigration into the U.S. become an invasion? which would grant governors the authority and obligation to take action. You see, the state, not the federal government, will be called upon in such a situation to take action. It goes on to say, by some estimates, more than 6 million illegal immigrants have crossed into the United States during the 3 years of the Biden administration. Others estimate it to be more than 8 million. It goes on to say that these illegals likely mostly come from Mexico and Central America, but the fact is we have no idea how many of them may be arriving from, for example, the Middle East or other war-torn areas of the world. Last month, even the New York Times wrote of the disaster on the US border, that thousands of migrants are arriving at the border every day, trekking from the farthest reaches of the globe, from Africa to South America, driven by relentless violence, desperation, and poverty. And there are many observers who fear that some of the immigrants might be terrorists, willing to strike the United States from the inside. The standoff at the border could lead to civil unrest, and civil strife and unrest, as well as terrorist attacks inside the United States, are a contributing factor for an outside power attacking and conquering the United States. Remember what Abraham Lincoln has said. We first will have to destroy ourselves from the inside before an outside power will come to destroy us from the outside, and that is exactly what is going to happen. America's downfall is inevitable. It's occurring with an accelerating speed. And the tragedy is, it looks like we are doing everything we can in the United States of America to bring that downfall about. Thank you very much for listening. This is Norbert Link for the Standing Watch program.
Standing Watch is a presentation by The Church of the Eternal God, P.O. Box 270519, San Diego, California 92198. More information is also available at our website, eternalgod.org.